Where are friends? What are friends for?
No, really, what are friends for? Welcome back, everyone, to the beginning of our second season of What Are Friends For. I'm Gabrielle Ruiz.
And I'm Pallavi Sastry. Hi, Gabrielle.
Hey, girl, how have you been?
I'm good. It's still quarantine.
It's still quarantine, but also, I'm so exhausted. The pandemic schedule is very demanding. Have not had so much water maybe ever in my life.
You know what it feels like? It feels like that everybody's sort of found their second wind. You know what I mean? It's the second wind part of the safer at home. So now everybody's like, all right, this is life now. So I'm going to get going, which is it kind of a nice feeling because you do have more to do. But at the same time, you're also, I think there's a level of freedom you get whenever you leave your house to go to work. You know what I mean? And then when you're at home and you're working, you're also at home and doing home stuff. So it's like twice as exhausting.
But, I think, I always say, the entrepreneur actors of us always have been nailing the work from home.
Especially the New Yorkers, right? And I mean, we have a New Yorker on the show today.
Super excited to introduce my wonderful friend from a very, very, very long time ago. We did this cute little Connecticut theater show together, and a person that I very much look up to. Take it away, Pallavi, with the final introduction.
Yes, she is an actress, dancer, musician, a singer, triple threat, and then some. Not only that, she's a business owner. She will hopefully tell us a little bit about her business, which has been completely of service to the Broadway community, which is amazing. And she's a producer and a writer, and she's found herself in LA now. Please welcome Vasthy Mompoint.
Woo!
That's basically the intro of Broadway Babysitters, where Vasthy goes to all these kids on these Zoom calls with, and gets all these kids super excited.
It's so fun.
Vasthy, welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Oh my gosh, thanks for squeezing us in because, girl, you are busy.
The quarantine schedule is real. I was listening, it's real, and the water is real. Since you guys have started, I drank a cup. I've drinking 2.5 cups of water since we.
Yeah.
I mean, It's also supposed to be 96 degrees today, and it's just different from the New York heat, right? There you're sweating all the time, so it doesn't feel like you're not as parched. But here it's this hot and this dry, so you're just a cactus, you know?
Yeah, the New Yorker is not used to. I'm from Haiti, Alabama, and New York, the most humid summers of all time, and this dryness is very confusing to me. I'm like, I don't know what else to do. How much more water can I drink? Pedialyte,
I know,
humidifiers, but it's so beautiful. I will take that over winter any day.
And how long have you been in Los Angeles now?
I moved here in September, but I was in and out working on some projects. So officially January is when we moved into our apartment.
Wonderful. And how have you liked the change? Eerie, post, I would say pre-pandemic and post-pandemic is kind of a two-rounded answer.
Well, yeah, right now, I don't even feel like I live in California. I feel like I'm at some sort of resort because I don't even know what LA really looks like. I moved here and was working on the CBS showcase. And then I was going back and forth from New York, doing Spongebob Live that we filmed for Nickelodeon. And then I did the Prom movie. So when the Prom movie wrapped, I was like, finally, I'm going to get to experience LA. I'm going to get to see what it's all about because I literally hadn't been anywhere. And then the pandemic happened 4 days later. So I literally don't know. I don't know LA at all. I really don't. I know a coffee shop and a few restaurants, but that's about it.
And your apartment, you're
in my
nesting.
apartment,
You're
which we
forced
love
to nest. Right.
But I love it here.
Well,
I love New York. There's nothing in the world like New York. There's just no place to ever like it. But it's just this that can't beat the weather and the scenery.
Oh, no, 100%. I live in the Valley. I'm in North Hollywood, and the heat definitely feels like sometimes there's a little bit of humidity here, and it's it can get to 97 and feel that way. So I sometimes get my fix of the heat in the Valley, but I digress. I have a car, and I'm not sweating on the subway. That I do not miss.
And the subway, walking up the subway stairs, and that's when,
But now I have to go to the gym. But that's not what this podcast is about.
That's been the biggest adjustment, having to work out more. I was like, I have to
I
eat less and
know.
work out more. I gained like everyone said they're like, you're going to gain like an LA 10 pounds when you move here. And I was like, no. And I was like, whoa, we burn a lot of calories walking around.
Yes,
That's
and
exactly right.
I told my my costume designer for Crazy Ex-Girlfriend when I did gain that weight through the 4 seasons. I was like, "I'm sorry, I'm just so happy. I'm not so anxious anymore, and I'm not running around. I'm married. I'm happy." But she was like, "It's fine." I was like, "I'm just so happy. I'm not so anxious anymore. I have money
I
in my
know.
account. It's so nice."
It's so weird. And I was trying to make myself anxious when I first got here. I was like, there has to be something to be anxious about. But
Nope.
it's very
Nope.
mellow here. I love it.
I mean, the only thing you could potentially get anxious about, I think, is the traffic. But here, I mean, this totally is relevant to the topic. But what being in a car for this amount of hours of the day, I mean, not right now, obviously, but like regular life here, you spend so much time in your car. And that has been the time that I connect with people now. I have so much more time to make phone calls. I have so much more time to, listen to wonderful books on tape. And I just feel like I have become a better friend being here. And Gabrielle
Yeah.
and I talk often about how we have been able to, like, we have the energy now to make time for each other, right? So it's give and take. I mean, I think that, with all of those things, we've all struggled with the whole, 10, 15 pounds. I just had a baby, so I'm dealing with a little more than that. But, it's just, I think I don't think I would be able to imagine what's happening right now in the world in this way of life if I was still a New Yorker. I have nothing but love and respect and so much empathy for what New York is going through right now too.
Me too.
I agree.
Yeah.
Well, we're so happy you're here, and we're going to jump into our first segment that kind of helps us catch up, more recent topics of what's going on with us. It's called
Hints to Friends or Reality. Yeah.
And this is the conversation you would have over, wine at your friend's house. You'd be like, "Oh, I saw your post," and you're like, "Girl, this is what's really going on," right? Or just talk about things. And Vasthy, can we start with your post?
Mostly last night I did a Mary Poppins reunion podcast, which was so much fun. I haven't talked to those guys in a while. There's a lot of reunion things going on with Broadway cast, which I don't even care if I don't even know if people care to even hear it. It's more like, honestly, it was just fun for, I think, the people involved.
Yeah.
But it was great listening to them. And then mostly my posts have been about the virtual babysitting that I've started with my company, Broadway Babysitters.
Yes, I'd love to dive into that. I mean, you have been able to not only connect and give parents, especially right now in this quarantine life, a break, and also, a little bit of donation and being able to offer that to some, nonprofits and donations. But you hired me, Vasthy. Like, I was like, I didn't even know I was going to get paid when I was doing like a segment for you. And I was happy to do it like as a friend, and also helping out parents and just helping you. And I was so flattered that you asked me. I if I wasn't an actor, my other life would be child psychology, And so I love children and in that way and educating them. And when you asked me and they're like, "By the way, you're getting paid," I thought that was so generous of you. And you have always been that person that's just like always finds a way to be as thoughtful as possible.
Thank you. Well, there are like, I think 18,000 people, I mean, more than that, but as far as New York in general, but 18,000 people in the Broadway community who have lost their jobs, the actors, the ushers, all of them. And so when this happened, I was like, okay, for once in my life, I'm not in a terrible, terrible money place because my husband is working, thank goodness. And I was like, all I want to do is help. And ironically, I was quarantined last year for 3 months because I was very sick. So when I heard that this quarantine was happening, and I was actually quarantined before everyone else because my immune system is still a little bit low. And so I was like, I know what this quarantine is going to do. It's going to make everyone sit alone with their own feelings. Everyone's going to feel a little blah, blah, blah. Parents are going to have to try to work from home while raising a kid and trying to think about I could see all the problems. And I was like, I think I have the mental and the capability to help with this in a way that I don't think I would have been able to help with it a year before. And so my husband is working from home. So we have all this equipment here. And I started these like virtual classes for kids. And it's not like they're learning technique. It's literally them just having fun. They dance around, they sing, they read books, and it's providing just 30 minutes of a break for the parents to like, as one mom told me, which is one of my favorite reviews, she was like, thanks for giving me some time to go in the bathroom and cry because I haven't had a chance to cry. And I was like, I got you, girl. So it just feels good. It feels good to be able to pay the artist. It feels good to see the kids happy because kids have no clue what's happening right now. They just know that everyone is sad and anxious and they don't really know what's happening, but they can feel it. So I think it's important to support them right now because their lives are going to be completely different than what ours was. And so that was my main thing, just trying to provide people comfort as much as I can.
Oh, I love that. And you really are doing a great job. You have a team with you. You have, and also a co-founder, right?
Yes. Her name is Jen Malenke. And then there's another woman, Leanne, who's been assisting me through all this. And we got this up in like 4 days. And we started with I was like, oh, you know what? I don't even care if it's like 12. I thought maybe at the most we'd get 12 to 15 families interested. And now we have over 500 registered with us,
incredible.
which is fantastic. And it's great because it's pay what you can. So they can just, all families of financial backgrounds can come and join.
Yeah. And again, like I mentioned that it's, you're able to employ friends, which is so nice and a nice way to connect and support those people. And you've always been, for me, that person that every time you were spoken of, I love Vasthy. Vasthy is so amazing because, and there's like a huge list of people. And so the fact that you're able to like have a reunion with your Mary Poppins cast and, you were able to do Prom on Broadway and do the film as well. We're just so happy that you're on our podcast because you are a true definition of like a special friend.
Oh, for sure. And I think I might have told you when I first met you, I already knew of you because my friend Samantha, who was on season 1 with me, we had actually spoken with you about potentially you coming on already because you are that sort of connector and you sort of have, you're very good at it from what I can see, like you're very good at keeping your personalized relationships with everybody. You're not really like a one size fits all person, which is hats off to you. You know what I mean? Like the fact that you can, you can sort of mold yourself into the situation, like give yourself fully in whatever situation it is, like, Broadway babysitters and otherwise in real life. Like that's just a really big testament to your heart.
Thank you. And I'm lucky that we had a lot of resources to be able to do this, but what small business owners in America are going through is insane because it's, if those like pictures from the Depression where you see long lines of like a bread line, it's basically like that right now for small business loans and grants. So there's so many people. So while people are waiting for assistance, your only option as a small business owner is to either close your doors or to reduce your staff or fire your staff and rebuild your company with whatever is in arm's length reach. And that's your only option. So it's, I'm working like 85 hours a week right now because we had to reduce staff hours. But I'm in the same boat as like all the business owners right now. So it's a crazy time, but I definitely have it easier than a lot of these business owners like restaurants and, other service industries.
Which actually brings me to a question for you. When it comes to the 80 plus hours of work, how have you been nurturing and unplugging with your friendships with people that are in New York? And I know you've posted passionately about please stay home. I have a huge number count of friends that are affected with COVID-19 and please stay home, please stay home. I've seen some of those posts and what has been your process with your friendships like in New York or people that have also moved from New York to LA or new LA friends?
Well, I definitely see a difference. I think that LA is handling the stay home and all that stuff so well personally from what I'm seeing and just hearing, but as well as they're responding, I don't think anyone really understands what's happening unless you have a connection to New York. And so my goal right now with my friends is just to be there as like emotional support. I do Zoom calls with them or have like the game nights, or if they're just like, I'm sad today, I send them a song because this is hard for everyone, but to imagine that happening with it being colder and darker and the fact that they've been in it for months and the city is empty. New York is not the reason that New York is a fun place to live is because of the pulse and the passion and all the opportunities and the people. And when you take that away, New York is basically just living in a shoebox in a very dark place. It doesn't really make too much sense when you think about it. And I think that's a realization a lot of people are having. And it's hard because a lot of people are afraid to go home because they don't want to get their parents sick. So they're kind of stuck. And so my main goal is just to try to keep connected with them. And I think it's very, very important to surround yourself around people you love, because I know that we've all been having like days where we're fine and then we're like, dear God, what is happening? So I think it's just best to, and again, and that's another, I got sick last year, so I know what it feels like to sit alone with your own thoughts. We're all so busy. So for once, you're like, there's nothing to really distract me. I have to sit alone with all this. And that's hard. And that might bring up some stuff. So I'm just here to help provide emotional support for all my people in that.
Oh, yeah. Well, I was going to ask you on the flip side of those things, you find yourself being of service to everybody. Do you find that, are you supported right now, or how are you doing? Are you and your husband doing okay? I know that quarantining with a partner and with your loved one also can be an adjustment, because you may not have spent that much time 24/7 with them ever. I mean, obviously, we're still getting to know each other. So, I'm just curious to know how home life has been. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it actually got to the point where, because again, it was like restructuring a company that had been running a certain way for 3 years and basically rebuilding it. So it was feeling fulfilling and good. And then it all of a sudden was like a lot. And so old Vasthy would have been like, I'm going to power through and I'm going to do this all alone and just not sleep and be cranky, basically.
Very,
but then
very
I was
relatable.
Like, because women are crazy people.
Yeah, we're peripheral.
We're insane. And so it's like, I'm not doing that. I'm not going to do this. So I emailed some people that I knew that weren't working from home. And I was like, look, full disclosure, this is not sustainable throughout this quarantine. I need to also be working on my art. I need to be doing stuff because it helps me mentally and physically. And I was like, can you guys help me? And I have a group of friends who are like, yes. So now people are like helping for free, basically, because as a business owner, I don't get unemployment. I don't get stimulus checks. Which is another crazy thing about small business owners. It's so weird. So a lot of my friends who are on unemployment and need something to do, they're like, we'll do this. And it's taken off so much of the pressure. And I feel so, so blessed to have people that support me like that. And my husband and I are closer than we've ever been, which is not what I thought this was going to be. I was like, am I going to go to jail for killing my husband? But I'm not.
Yeah. Yeah, you weren't sure. You weren't sure at the beginning.
I'm not.
We can all relate to that.
It's great. He's fantastic because he's so mellow and zen. So he's like
a hummingbird. I'm like the hummingbird of the group too. And Philip's like, it's fine. We'll just figure it out. And I'm like, well, but what about all this? And what about that? And he's like, well, you just plug it in. He was like, the biggest like meltdown I have, and he always solves it with this question. He says, did you restart your phone?
Yes. That's what happened like twice today already.
And I'm like, why isn't it working? Why isn't it working? I don't have time for this. And he's like, but did you restart your phone? I was like, panic. And I'm like, well, I'll try. And he goes, but you should do it. And I do it finally. And I'm like, oh, okay, it works. Good. Okay. Anyway.
Well, and it also sounds like all three of us have spouses that have these like technical skills that we need, you know what I mean? And so, right, which is such a blessing, obviously, because it's all useful to us. But I'm also like, the reason why I ask him to do it is because I'm also like, in the back of my mind, I was like, I do not want to learn a new skill. So you do it for me. Like,
just do it for me.
Yeah. Gosh. I literally said that. I was like, I don't want to learn, because he would start explaining. And I was like, I can't explain to you how little I care about learning. Like zero stakes. I don't care.
I don't know what Philip would do if I said that. I'm going to try it this week. I cannot explain to you how much I don't care. Just do it.
Don't. It's so boring. But I was like, I appreciate you. And I give him a hug and a kiss. I'm like, I appreciate everything you're doing. Please don't make me learn this right now.
Oh my God, I'm dying.
I don't care.
Oh, you're my best friend. Don't care. Well,
oh goodness.
But speaking of, there's been some friends like that. You were a friend of mine that I was so happy that moved to LA. from New York, and Pallavi also was one of those like 3 years ago. And there's a lot of, you know, transplants from New York. And one person that I loved seeing you able to at least somehow in some way support is a person that I admire too, from the Broadway world. And she is way too tall for my dance group. And also I'm way too brunette for her dance group. But I always remember auditioning kind of like in the same group with Amanda Klutz. And I was just like, wow, that's Broadway, you know? And so like I was able to like audition with her, but you worked with her and with her and Nick Cordero's situation right now with COVID and all that. It's been at least over a month now, I think, with him in the hospital.
It's been like, I mean, I remember the day we were like kind of teasing a little bit because he was like, I don't feel good. Like he thought he maybe had like a sinus infection. And then it was like 0 to 1,000 where, cause I was going to go, he's doing Rock of Ages here and we were going to go see the show that week. And
wow,
he wasn't able to do it cause he was sick and things were closing down, and it hadn't closed down just yet. But, she dropped him off at the ER just to get like some medicine, not even to stay. And she was like, I'll be right back. And that was just, and then it just went from, it just hasn't stopped. And it's absolutely insane because right now I think the last time I counted 47 friends who have the virus or who had it or have had it, and all tested, like have had it. And there have been different degrees, but to see somebody that I'm so close with go through this is absolutely insane. And it couldn't have happened to a better group of people. Amanda and I moved here at the same time, and we were so happy that we had each other. So like I took her class every Saturday. I got to see Elvis on Saturdays and Nick, and we're all kind of just adjusting to LA together. And it's just, she's such a strong human being. She really is. She's amazing. And before this even happened, I always tell her, I'm like, you need to write a book, because she's always just pulled up by the bootstraps. I can't remember how that goes, but she's had such an interesting and difficult path in the past. And she always rises above it and finds a way to make things bright and shiny, but real. And then this happened, and I'm like, my goodness, but you know, Nick is doing better and he's fighting. You know, he's going to wake up not really, the last he was awake, he didn't even really know he had COVID. So it's, you know, it's crazy. The world knows he's sick. He has no idea what's going on. This whole pandemic is just nuts. It's just nuts. And his life is going to change. So I think, but he knows that basically the whole planet has his back right now. And knowing both of them, they're going to turn this into a beautiful thing. They will make sure that like he's not like his life will be a good life when he wakes up. I 100% believe that.
So I don't know Amanda personally either, but a friend of mine had shared her Instagram with me because, you know, her fitness content is just so like relatable and doable and accessible. So she was like, you might like this. You know, she just had a baby too, because her son, I don't think, is that much older than my daughter. So it was just, I was like, okay, that's what I was looking for at the time, was like people who are in the same boat as me. And I sort of start my day every day checking in to see how her husband is doing. I do it every morning. I check in. And that's actually what you said earlier was the biggest thing on my mind, was that when he wakes up, he will not know everything that had happened and transpired to keep, you know, to send all this good energy his way during all this time. And I think it just reminds me that, and Gabrielle and I have been talking about this, how there's just a sense of urgency, I think, amongst most of us and most of the world, that there's not a lot of time to waste in terms of trying to build connection now. Because like you said, I didn't know that story, right? I didn't know that she had dropped him off and it was like a see you later sort of situation. And then, you know, 30 days later, he's fighting for his life, right? He's doing great, but which is amazing.
6 weeks at this point. About 6 weeks, if I'm not mistaken.
And the beautiful like what's the word I want to say, like clashing of worlds, that his song Live Your Life is been now this torch song for not only for his own story, but for everybody to fight for life right now. And there's if anybody's interested that's listening, there is always a 3 p.m., I believe Pacific Standard Time call to action of playing Nick Cordero's Live Your Life song. You can find it on iTunes. You can find it on Amanda Klut's Instagram as well. And I would say the majority of the world comes together at that time or later and plays that song for Nick to wake up. And the hashtag is Wake Up Nick. And
and what happened was she played that, I can't remember exactly. I remember because I was over when it happened, something with playing in a song came on. It was like an Elvis song and her son is named Elvis. And she was like, oh, this is Nick. Nick is like trying to talk to me. And then she played his song. And the doctor said that when she played his song and they played it near the hospital, near his bed, his blood pressure went up, like everything. And so her energy, she has an energy healer friend that was like, we should just do this and have everyone collectively do that. And it actually helps. I honestly believe that he can feel it.
What are friends for, man? That's good stuff. That's like,
and I even taught it in my class with the kids. And I was like, all right, it's Nick Cordero Day. And they all wore like rock and roll outfits. It's so cute. They dress up, which is my favorite part of the entire thing. But they were all dancing. And now they all like, their moms are like, now we dance to it every day. And they're like, there was a man on her Instagram the other day and he had to be like in his 80s or 90s and he was dancing. Like, it really is beautiful that, and she did that. There's something about her that's very magical. Not everyone would be able to do that in that way.
Absolutely not. No. It does definitely make me hug Philip a lot harder and longer every day because of that. Because I was like, Philip, I don't know what I would do if, and I do appreciate, I also saw that you were able to at least play your guitar and sing for Elvis, like at the end of their stoop, like right at the beginning of April, I think, or whatnot. So that was just very sweet to see that there's friends that are pulling for her that can actually go for a brief moment, even if it's 6 feet away, to at least support her, like her siblings too.
Yeah, and I've been to the hospital with her, and I just in my car with my windows closed, and we just like talk about it. It's like there's only so much you can do. Her brother and sister are here now, which is so great. She is such an amazing family. But they made sure they were good to go, and now they're there, and so she has a lot more support, which I'm happy because to deal with that and to also raise a baby, I mean, they're renovating does not too. Calculate. Yeah, no. So it's great that she has that support.
Yeah, I mean, and like you said, kids don't really understand what's going on except for the energy around them. And so, I think the fact that she's just trying to normalize life for her baby right now is, I mean, I understand that. I understand where she's coming from in terms of trying to just make sure that her kid can, thrive despite the situation. And it's not an easy thing to do when you're going through something like that. But I think the thing that kids always bring is that hope and sort of perspective that like, just like in this moment, like you have what you need and you can just keep going forward until you ask for things when you need them. And it's just so black and white with children. And I think it helps us to sort of kind of quiet all the noise around us in a way.
Yes, absolutely.
Anyway, we could keep going, but at the same time, we're so grateful that we could just pick your brain a little bit about friendship because that's what this podcast is about. And just also it's a perfect excuse for us to get together with our friends and, Samantha.
And by the way, I have to say something about Gabrielle saying about
you can say Gabi. Everyone, like, you can say my New York name.
I wish you could see my face. I was like,
just short circuiting over there.
That little show we did in Connecticut, she was an absolute star. And the coolest thing about that show was it was the first show I'd ever done like a Gershwin classic musical theater. Like when people think of musical theater, they think of this style. It was the first time I'd seen like a brown person in a role like that. And I was like, this is fantastic. And I think it was important for that little town of Connecticut to see that it doesn't always have to be a Ginger Rogers type, which is great. Ginger Rogers types are also amazing, but it's good to see that like not everyone has to look the same when doing those roles.
Thank you.
That was actually my favorite theater experience. It was just so much fun. It was so good.
Oh, Hartford,
Really
Connecticut.
fast.
It was the show's called My One and Only. And with Tony Asbeck. Oh my gosh, so much. I mean, so many people. I mean, Rich Yoder. I mean, come on. I mean, everybody. It was, we were wee babes. I was clueless. But
we knew everything. We thought we knew everything.
We thought we knew everything.
I was like, I figured out life. So if anyone has any questions about life, just ask me.
Come my way, Connecticut. I am here for you.
Come my way, Connecticut.
All my white Connecticut friends. Well, we're going to wrap up this episode with our ending segment called
Lightning War.
All right. The first question is, how long is your longest friendship?
30 years.
Fantastic. How do you stay in touch? With that person, with everyone, what's your go-to way to stay in touch?
Some people are easier than others, but text seems to be the easiest, and I love voice memos. They're my favorite thing ever.
Fantastic. In one word, or hyphenated. I'll take a hyphenated. In one word, what type of friend are you? Are you a problem solver? Are you the listener? Are you needy? Are you blunt, etc.?
Problem solver.
And what do you want to do better as a friend?
Answer people back sooner.
Fantastic. And then, Gabrielle, you want to do this last one together?
Yeah, sure.
It's what are friends for.
Yeah, I know. Just there's a delay in quarantine life. We learned that last time. Vasthy, and finally, what are friends for? See, I told you it doesn't work. It doesn't work.
It kind of did. Friends are there to bring you joy and bring you light, because life is beautiful and life is hard, and no matter what kind of attitude you have through it, it will be both of those things, and there's no way you can avoid either of those things. So the more support you have and the more love and people that have your back that you know will be there, I think the best. And I think that's what friends are for.
I love it. Thank you so much for being here, Vasthy.
Thank you guys so much. That was so much fun.
And where can we find you on the social medias of all the things that you want people to say hi to you with?
You can find me at Frosty Vasthy on the Instagram. I'm not on Twitter because it's just, I can't, but Instagram at Frosty Vasthy.
Frosty Vasthy.
And we'll put that in the episode notes and on the website and everywhere else that you can get information from us, so you know how to spell it and find her.
Awesome.
We love you, friend. Thanks for coming by. I love you guys.
Thank you. That was so much fun. Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
1, 2, 3, 4.
This episode was produced by Team Access Productions and Fastnickel Inc. Our supervising producer is Philippa Sanchin.
Our consulting producers are Kathleen Cho and Megan Densmore. Our production assistants are Alex Udome and Susie Cabello. Special thanks to Samantha Wiener and Hari Savitala.
Our podcast artwork is created by Aishwarya Sukesh.
Original music by Joey Sherman.
Please remember to subscribe, rate, and review this podcast wherever you're listening to it now. This really helps our show's visibility, and it lets us keep making it for you.
Find us on Instagram and Twitter at WAFF Podcast. That's WAFF Podcast. And email any questions, requests, and positive feedback to whatareFriendsForPodcast@gmail.com.
We truly appreciate you all checking in with us online. But you know that friend that you've been like, oh, I really haven't checked in with that person in a while? Go do that.
Yeah, go do that now.